Henry David Thoreau once wrote something that stuck with me regarding how I spend my time. He said the following: "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." Listen to that one more time. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Not the amount of money, not the amount of effort, not even the amount of skill. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Because when you really think about it, money is just life in another form. You exchanged hours of your life to earn it. You exchanged your attention, your energy, your focus, your emotions, and your time. And unlike money, life is the one currency you never get back. Lately, I've been working a lot, more hours than I'm even used to working, and I already work more than most. And when I say it out loud, it almost sounds a little bit ridiculous. Sometimes I hear myself describing my schedule and think, that sounds like too much. But here's the thing. I'm building something. I'm investing in something I believe matters. This podcast, the work I do during the day, the content I create, everything is part of a bigger vision. I've looked at the cost, and for now, I've decided it's worth paying. I'm intentionally exchanging part of my life for something I believe has lasting value. And that's an important distinction, because there's a huge difference between choosing your sacrifices and accidentally making them happen. Every meaningful goal has a price. Every healthy marriage costs time. Every strong body costs discipline. A successful career costs effort. Learning a new skill can cost a lot of hours of practice. Becoming the kind of person you want to be always requires an exchange. We admire people who accomplish extraordinary things, but we often forget that they paid for those accomplishments with years of consistent investment. Nobody gets excellence for free. The price is always life. The question isn't whether you'll pay a price. The question is, what are you paying it for? And that's when I think this quote becomes incredibly challenging, because it's not the intentional investments that worry me. It's the accidental ones. Think about it for a second. How much life do we exchange for things that don't actually matter? Scrolling social media until we forget why we opened the app. Watching another episode simply because it autoplayed. Reading comments from strangers we'll never meet. Arguing online with people we'll never convince. We've all had those moments where we look up from our phone and think, what did I just spend the last hour doing? That is an hour of your life. Gone. You paid for it. Was it worth it? I'm an avid reader, and every once in a while someone tells me, I hated this book. And then I ask, did you stop reading it? No, I finished it. Why? If you know you're not getting value from it, why keep exchanging your life for something you don't enjoy at all? Life is too valuable to keep paying for things that aren't worth the cost. And that applies to far more than apps on your phone or books on a shelf. Sometimes it's habits or entertainment, or it's the obligations we never questioned. Sometimes it's even our own thought patterns. Now, don't misunderstand me. This isn't a speech about becoming obsessed with productivity. I mean, I do love a well-organized calendar. Mine has color codes and reoccurring reminders and scheduled work blocks, and yes, even scheduled rest. Because rest isn't wasted time. It's an investment. Sleep isn't wasted. Relationships aren't wasted. Laughter isn't wasted. Going for a walk, also not wasted. The goal isn't necessarily squeezing every possible ounce of productivity out of every minute. The goal is making sure the life you're exchanging is buying something worthwhile. Maybe that means working towards a dream. Maybe it means putting your phone away and giving your family your full attention. Maybe it means reading 10 pages instead of scrolling for 30. Maybe it means finally starting the hobby you've talked about for years. Or maybe it means recognizing that something you've been giving hours to weekly simply isn't worth the cost anymore. Because every yes you give something is also a no to something else. Every hour has an opportunity cost. And every commitment has a price. So here's my challenge for you today. The next time you catch yourself mindlessly spending time, ask one simple question. Is this worth the amount of life I'm exchanging for it? Not because every moment has to be productive, not because every moment, but because every moment is valuable. Maybe you'll decide the answer is yes. Maybe that hour with your family is absolutely worth it. Probably is. Maybe that afternoon hiking is worth every minute. Again, probably is. Maybe working towards your dream is worth the long nights. Wonderful. Keep paying that price. But if the answer is no, have the courage to stop paying. Because your life is your most valuable asset. You only get one. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're exchanging pieces of it for something. So choose carefully. Because as Henry David Thoreau reminded us all, the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it.